as I mentioned on my podcast with John Bertham, uh, Rep was pouring the gin down my throat, and then he was following it up by pouring some 7 Up down my throat because I don't drink my gin mixed. So in the process of doing that, I was continuing to cooking the food, and my snake started getting kind of rambunctious in the front room. So I tell wife number three, I should grab the snake and put him back in the back room because he doing a little bit too much in there. What's going on with him? He ain't hungry because I just fed him two 12-pound rabbits, which my Burmese python was about at that time. I'll say he about 9 feet, 80 pounds. So I had her to drag him back in the back room. She drug him back in the back room because I wasn't at liberty to touch anything because I was in the process of cooking. So she get him in the back room. I continue to cook, and as I continue to cook, we listen to our music. And ironic enough, the song that we would listen to on MTV when they first knocked on the door, I mean, it was Rooster by Alice in Chains, and all you can hear, they come to snuff the rooster. And I remember that playing over as I did my time. I can remember that playing that last song playing in my head over and over and over. They come to snuff the rooster. But anyway, I heard a knock on the door, a loud knock on the door. Boom, 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 boom. Open up, police. So I said, say man, you need to get away from that door they're playing. So first I think it's somebody playing because it's kind of unusual for the police to come down there uh, without us knowing beforehand, based on several ways. But also when they come, we usually get a signal. We would be getting signal from the ones who out there, and we didn't get the signal. So I said this got to be somebody who done went unnoticed and they snuck up on the front of the house, and they try to bring me a move. If they not playing, they trying to bring me a move. So I said to them again. They knock on the door again. Boom, 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 boom. Open the door. It's the police, ATF or something. ATF and FBI. I said, oh man, these Negroes just calling out alphabets now. They own something, ain't they? So I said, I tell you what, get away from that door, man, before you get more than what you're looking for. And then so they come again. I sit there, I wait to hear for a response, and I didn't hear a response. And so I sit there and I waited another second. Then you heard a loud crash, bloom, a loud crash, bloom. It was like, I think it took 2 hits for them to get it, like bloom, bloom. Then like that, they came on in, and it kind of throws you out because the blast was so loud. I didn't know it was a concussion grenade or something, but anyway, but it ended up being a battering ram. And they knocked the door in. When they knocked the door in, I just hear that. I didn't look to see who it was. I just took out toward the back room. When I took out toward the back room, I opened the door to the back room, and when I opened the door, my big snake, who had been in the room, agitated the whole time it had been in there, and that was unusual for him to be moving around like that and being that agitated. So something was going on, and I didn't pick up on that neither. So when I opened the door, he was trying to get to the front. So when I opened the door, it pushed into my snake, and I couldn't move it. It jammed me. At that time, simultaneously, at the time that I was jammed up and could not move the snake, I got tackled. And at the time I was getting tackled, I also heard simultaneously, "Dead is the police." As I was getting tackled down to the ground, I heard, "Dead is the police." So I kind of stopped resisting and went on and let them got me down on the ground. So when they got me down on the ground, I heard a lady's voice say, "Just be still, Bam Bam, be still. We got you. Don't move. Just be still. This the ATF and such and such." And then I said, okay, all right, I understand it the police now because my son said it. I'm saying this in my mind. Okay, I understand it the police now. I'm jive cool with that. But I say I don't believe no woman to tackle me. It's hard. I just can't see a lady. I want to see the lady that tackle me this hard. So I try to spin around. But as I spin around halfway, I could see a lady with blonde hair coming out from under a ski mask, holding the gun pointed at my face. So I seen her, but yet still she was not the one holding me. I could feel somebody else had their arms around me and everything. So I realized that a male officer must have tackled me, and the lady was just sitting there, had a gun on me. So then at that time, 2 officers came up from the back. When they came up, they walked past me, and the first one, he opened the door and tried to open the door, and then we seen the snake, Then he started shouting, "It's a goddamn snake, it's a snake." And he finna shoot the snake, and another officer, the one behind him, actually said, "No, no, don't shoot the snake. Don't. It's a pet snake. Don't shoot it." So he moved the guy out of the way, and he went in there, and he got the snake, and secured my big snake. And then after he secured it, he let the other officer walk in there. So the other officer walked in there. When he walked in, he looked around in the room. So after looking around in the room, he came back out walking real fast. So he got to my side, and he started kicking me in the side, told me, "Goddamn bastard, trying to get in here and get these up on the gun. Goddamn bastard," just kept kicking me in the side. So after he got through kicking me in the side, probably about 10 times or whatever in the side, so they cuffed me, they got me scrammed up and everything. They turned me around, tell me to crawl on my belly with my hands. Hands was handcuffed behind my back. So I'm moving serpentine from the kitchen through the living room and all the way till I get out to the steps. And that whole time I'm trying to figure out how can the police get this close to us or me without me getting the signal. I said I don't understand what went wrong with that. Something ain't right with that. I mean, I'd never known it to happen before, not dying there. I said, so this is something different. I don't know what we're dealing with, but it's something different. And I need to figure out how it happened so that it don't happen again. As I was crawling down the steps in my same serpentine position, I looked down in the bottom. And when I looked down in the bottom, I seen everyone, everything, even dogs. I seen everything connected with the bottom was laid down on the ground. Every individual from the smallest to the next, all of them were laid down flat on the ground. And each one of these individuals, you could see a police, or two police, or people in uniform standing over them. The only thing that was standing in the bottom that they had a uniform on. Everything else was laid down. So I looked and I shook my head. I said, this why. It's why I didn't get the signal. And then I started thinking again. I said, okay, this why my day. This is why I had that cloud over my head from the time that I walked out of there. And I started putting things together spiritually. And I said, oh man, if I had just listened to one of those signs and stayed back, I would not have been caught up in that raid, because they didn't actually know where I stayed. I mean, they had an address here for wife number 1 house, wife number 2 house, wife number 3 house, all the way down to wife number 5 house, but none of my permit, they didn't have a set address that they could have for me. So the best chance they had of catching me was coming down there, because I would spend 2 nights here, 2 nights here, 1 night here. So there was no set time. Even I didn't know where I was going to spend the night at some time. So therefore, their greatest chance of catching me was the way they did. And so, but I mean, God, it worked, whatever it was said and planned, I mean, God had it in motion. But as I look down there and I'm looking at everybody, all my homeboys and everybody is just laying down, so much going through my head. And then the officer in the ski mask walks over to me, and he's standing over and he tell me, look at these letters on this suit. So I look up at it. Did you see these letters, Bamm Bamm? You ain't gonna burn out this time. You ain't getting out this time. So I look up at him and I tell him, yeah, I'm pretty sure my bum will get me out this time just as well as, because I kept a bum on retainer as well as a lawyer. And I said, I'm pretty sure my bum will get me out on this, and he ain't let me down yet. So he turned around and said, no, not this, Bamm Bamm. I'm trying to tell you. You hear me? This it. So I look at him. I said, I hear you, shorty. So when I said I told him I hear you, shorty, I started laughing. And cause he was Shorty, which that's what his name used to be. We used to call him when he worked down the Cattle Detention Center. And I started going down the Cattle Detention Center at 18. And I basically been knowing him ever since then through one interaction of another. He moved on to be a sheriff, then a drug agent or whatever. But he was one of the ones that ended up busting us and arresting us in that Bottom Boy raid. And if you'll see on the podcast with John Bertram, me and my co-defendants and stuff, I got the chance to meet him after all those years. After I got back out of jail, we met down there at the podcast and shook hands, and wasn't no hard feeling, because I understand that he was doing his job. I did my time. So, we moving on. It's all different phases. He retired and I'm retired. I'm a retired, I guess, retired convict and retired criminal. And, he retired. So we moving on to try to do something different. But at that particular time, I'm looking up at him and I'm laughing. And I'm saying, this damn fool, he's sitting here with a mask over his face. I said, Shawty, I said, you sitting here with a mask over your face, talking to a known convict that been knowing you all your life. I said, what kind of sense do that make, having this conversation? Then I just laid my head down and started shaking my head at him. Well, you'll see, you gonna see. That's all right. And I laugh and they go on, they put me in the car because we were the first one to be put in that new courthouse at this level. That federal courthouse is the level. Everything was trial and error. They was trying to find out where they were gonna place us. All together, I think about 40 of us, 30 some of us was detained and taken down there. I think 25 of us ended up going to the state penitentiary, and 13 of us was charged on the federal level of the conspiracy. And so as they move us down there, we like they trying to find where to put us, who to separate who from who, and where to put us. And so they was like had different color plastic cups on us. So who was going to the Fed, and this they put us in the room because of different rights and different things for the different individuals. So I mean, it was a cluster mess. Everybody was going back and forth, trying, okay, who you got? You got this person, you got this person. And I'm just steady trying, hey man, y'all do what y'all got to do, but let me get my phone call so I can call, have my lawyer contact my bum or whatever and see what's going on. So they went on, they held us up as long as they can, denied us that, brought us some food. But the long story short of it is, like I said, 13 of us got charged in the Fed, and the rest of them went to the state. A couple of them had little small warrants. Me, myself, I got the RICO and the Vicar. Well, some of my co-defendants got the RICO, and some of them got the Vicar, but I got both of them, in which the RICO is the racketeering, the conspiracy thing, and the Vicar is violent crime. They the racketeering, basically for being an enforcer in the conspiracy, which means it's the reason I end up with the most time of everyone. But as you know, we got one of the longest trials that done happened of that magnitude of people, especially in Louisiana, and it's a lot of things happening in and out that trial. It was a very, very, very interesting trial. I mean, even if I look back at it from my perspective, now that I don't have that emotion that was going through me at the time, looking up at certain things that was said, certain things that were did, I look at it. It was interesting, but it was new because so many new facets that Louisiana had never been used to doing was brought into play. So it was trial and error. We had almost eight mistrial because of things that the prosecutor did that he wasn't supposed to do. But because our trial had cost so much money, it was basically said, we don't care what, we not finna go back and try to retry y'all no more. So we not gonna do this. Call it what you want to call it. That's basically what they were saying. They like, hey, we don't care what, we not going back and do this over. So, and the judge that was ruling over us was ruling under that premise that, hey, this trial is costing us too much, okay, faxing and all that other stuff, and technicalities and all that other stuff, we ain't even paying attention to that right now. And so we argued this certain thing, we argued for the mistrial, and it was valid each time. We argued for a change of venue, which was given to us, but we had to deny it because all of the two places that was able to handle us according to them was places where we definitely knew we was going to get some foul treatment. So therefore we rejected that. But that's another story, and moving on to that. But again, I appreciate y'all sitting here, and I ask y'all to subscribe and get those questions to me so I can talk about some things that y'all want to hear. And let's try to get some stuff out there. And like I say, prayerfully there'll be an antidote to everything. But we just want y'all to know the truth so y'all can make some decisions based on the truth. And I'm just giving it to you raw. I love y'all. Have a good day.